my absolutely beautiful Libra friends, and welcome to your horoscope for 2024, where Libra, this year we are going to move our energies into air, and you are an air sign, so I'm telling you this year has a completely different feel for you in terms of, first of all, being comfortable with things that are happening in the world, redefining yourself and realigning your vision and bringing a very realistic view to who you want to be and how you want to engage in the world, but also in the sense that the world itself will also be ready for Libra. So it's really kind of an exciting year. It's going to have its ups, it's going to have its downs, it's going to have its challenges. Those relationships are going to absolutely be challenged. Your finances will have some change, and we're also going to see areas that you can spiritually develop. So in order to make sure you are really very prepared for 2024, I've paired this year with 4 other brilliant astrologers, and we are going to break your 2024 year down by not only what's happening in the outer planet overview, but your finances, your relationships, money, medicine, and also spiritual development. So we'll have Wade Capes, Christopher Renstrom, Cameron Allen, and also our beautiful friend Tiffany Harlick, pulling it all together at the end here and breaking you down by quarter. What's happening for you, Libra, by quarter? So I'm telling you right now at the beginning of this video, grab a pen, grab paper, put it on, let this play in the background while you're cleaning up, while you're doing whatever, and let the information hit you, because every single one of these astrologers is very well trained at what they do, and we're here to just make sure you're really well prepared. Now, also to make sure that you are prepared, make sure you click in the description box down below and get your 2024 digital transit calendar that comes right to your phone. I love that, from our friends at Wise Skies Collective. And also in the description box down below, you're going to find the contact information for every single astrologer. So if you do need more guidance in finance, or you're looking at your spiritual development, you can reach out and make beautiful contact, because we want you to be successful in 2024. All right, Libra, let's talk about what these outer planets have going on for you, and let's also talk about the nodes. So let's start there. The nodes are going to continue to travel in your sign and the vibration of Aries. So this is going to be lighting up your 7th house of conscious chosen one-on-one relationships, and your 1st house, the house of self, me, who I am. Now, the interesting part about this is that that North Node is in Aries this year, so it's moving more towards the we. So this is where I think it's always interesting for Libra, because you're naturally more of the we energy, because at an evolutionary level, what Libra understands is that you can only go so far on your own, so we have to partner to have some of these next experiences. But where you're being asked to relook, re-edit, redesign, to surrender some things is where maybe you've had too much we, or you're done with the we that you've had, and now it's time to let some of that piece of yourself go. And you're going to, Aries, move towards a different relationship balance and dynamic, and it's one where your autonomy, where your voice is very well heard. It's not just all about the we, it's not just all about the me, but you're going to spend the year creating this interdependence. You're going to spend the year inching towards new levels of interdependence, and where you connect with people and resources that are really significant in your life. Now, we're also going to see Mars, the ruling planet of that Aries energy, take a retrograde at the end of the year. So first of all, when Mars goes retrograde, because it's a personal planet and it's very close to us, we feel that, Libra. We're like, oh, Mars, is that you? It gets very personal, very fast. But let's come back into 2023. Between June and October, when Venus was dancing in the vibration of Leo and also retrograding here, you got a evaluation of your friendship groups, of what is important, what you value around friends, what you value in a tribe, what you value in relationships, what you value for your long-range dreams, goals, aspirations for yourself. And what for many of you this could have looked like is this quote that I think is beautiful, where it's like, tell the truth about who you are, where you are, or what you want, and you will actually find out who's not in your tribe, and that enables you to find your tribe. So if over this time you have found out, in 2023, you were like, I really value these sets of qualities, and the friendship group or the organization or the social media content that was in your life did not actually support that. If you told the truth about what you really value, your new tribe was that Venus set the table for them to be attracted in. Now, Mars will take over the reins and show you how to interact, how to engage, how to get it done. The other thing I think about in this 11th house space with this Mars and Mars retrograde in Leo is that you'll relearn social media. That's it. You're going to relearn technology in some way, because technology in air energy is going to advance and advance very, very quickly this year. So learning how to engage it is going to be a part of what you'll redo your strategy. You'll rework how you're interacting with that, okay? Now, we're also going to see that Saturn and Saturn and Neptune are going to continue to travel through this vibration of Pisces, lighting up your 6th house space. Now, this isn't new news or new information to you, because they've both been traveling here throughout 2023, okay? But as we're going to experience this in your 6th house of daily routines, some things, some ideas, some ideals, some beliefs that you had about your health, wellness, including mental health and wellness, a daily routine that is spiritual as well as able to produce in the real world. Feeling like you have something solid and spiritual and a set of ideals to really stand on to do daily life, instead of being wrapped in the anxiety or living so much in your head that you can't get out into the world. These things will be brought to crystallization, and you'll be working on gaining mastery. As Saturn says, I need to crystallize this area for you. We need to demonstrate mastery. We need to gain mastery, and we need to take this area pretty seriously. So I do think that as we're traveling throughout 2024, if you've had an unrealistic view of what your daily routine can look like for you to be healthy, you'll be doing some reevaluation of that for absolutely sure. And you can infuse it with more spiritual practice. And what does it look like to tend to your spirit, not just your mind, okay? As we're going to see Jupiter and Uranus, they are also continuing to travel through the vibration of Taurus. Now, Uranus will stay in Taurus for all of 2024, but not Jupiter. But as these two are traveling together here, you're getting, first of all, this light up of your 8th house vibration with the vibration in Taurus. Okay, so one of the things that's been happening for you, Libra, is in the area of intimacy and assets. So whether that be a partner's money or some resource that you are partnering with for finance, for value. This could be you're paying off debt. This could be you're learning about investments. This could be your partner's bringing in money. It could be you get a trust. It could be that you're valuing with a therapist, an astrologer, whatever it is. Things have been shaken up and shaken loose from this very Tauran, it's been stuck place, and it has all of this abundance of value to you. And with Jupiter in Taurus here, you've been expanding that out. Now, for some people, really, truly, your partners have been expanding you out in the area of intimacy, which is what is going on in our relationship, what's happening in our marriage, what's happening in our relationship. You're doing the most, and that's keeping us from being together. Other people, you're deepening that intimacy. You're like, yes, more of us. I understand you more. I see you. I hear you more. So whatever the deepening and the expansion out of your wisdom here has been, we're going to see that continue until we get to May. Then Jupiter is going to move into the energy of Gemini, lighting up your 9th house space, Libra. So first of all, if you are publishing, marketing, broadcasting, expanding yourself, what you know, your training, your skills, your voice out into the world in some way, Jupiter is speaking massive benefit to help you be able to do this. Plus, Jupiter is really comfortable in the 9th house, so we have reason to think that there is an opportunity for success for you here. But remember, with Jupiter, whatever is happening here, you can't keep it for yourself. You can't just have the information for yourself. You can't just network and keep it to yourself. You have to give it away to keep it, to actualize the juice here. You've got to share your information. I think that this speaks very well for travel for some of you, long distance travel. And I love it for any of my people getting ready to do a training, take a certification, get higher education, or develop your faith in a deeper way. This speaks very well to supporting you do all of that. Now, the big news is that we are going to also see Pluto make this shift of energy. It's been dancing between Capricorn and Aquarius as we were in 2023, and we're going to see a bit more of that dance as we're traveling 2024 before Pluto sets into Aquarius for the long 20-year stay, okay? But as Pluto dances through this Capricorn vibration, Capricorn is a cardinal energy, just like you are, and it's been working in your 4th house. So real change, real destruction, real tearing down so that you can rise it back up over the last 20 years of your life, provided you're over 20, in your 4th house zone, Libra, okay? And some of this is your own psychological foundations and where you gain security from, where are you rooted into? And it's caused you to change how you even present yourself to the world. But certainly anything in the domestic zone and how you work from home, what does home mean? Do you want to own a home? Or you're like, that is somebody else's dream, honey, right? Like whatever those changes are, we'll still see some of that. And then Pluto will move into the vibration of Aquarius, which is an air sign, just like you are. So it's comfy. You can understand how this energy works. Now, the thing that I think is, first of all, for us to note is that Pluto here starts to light up your 5th house space, which means that a creative talent, something that you're willing to take a risk on, things happening for your children are all going to start to really take precedence, but also technology is going to become a big piece of the story, right? And we want to be mindful of this because Pluto's not a personal planet, it's a societal planet. So it means that the world around us, ideas that you had on how to work, how to have life, what family means to you, the world wasn't particularly ready for it yet. And when Pluto pops into Aquarius, it's like the world is ready for that. Now come, take a risk, tell us who you are, tell us what you're into, deliver it, let your children see the world in maybe ways that you never thought were possible. And I think a really great example of this is that, for me, I have a stellium in Libra. I'm a Taurus, but I have a stellium in Libra. And I know that there was this idea, Capricorn, in the world that I wanted my children to get educated, to go to college so that they could be safe and prepared and, all of these beautiful things, right? But Pluto in Libra also taught me, being out in these streets, that I was like, oh, well, wait. My children, absolutely, I want them to go to college, but you know what? They could also have their own drop shipping businesses that I can teach them how to build so that they can share their gifts and their talents and their creative expression through clothing or merchandise or services that they would like to be able to offer with the world, right? So this is a very different way of thinking about how the society and the world has to go, and the timing that it has to happen in. And this is something that I think is open and available for you as well. Now, Pluto in your 5th house is also makes a very, very big space to consider how you may be using science in your life to change the way that you navigate family dynamics. So that's going to be a whole thing, and we will open that up and uncover it all year long. So the year is changing, the energy is changing, we're moving more to the air and fire dynamics, which means that this could be a year that you feel a bit more comfortable even being in it, Libra. So I hope you take a lot of advantage. Now make sure, Libra, that you click in the description box down below, get your own natal chart so that you can see where these planetary movements are actually happening in your own personal chart. And then head over to stormiegrace.com, where I've got a brand new encyclopedia and index of all of the planets, all of the aspects. So when I say that the moon is happening in the 5th house for you, you can just grab your chart, look at your chart, see it's the 5th house. What does it mean? What do I do with it? How do I align? I've got you taken care of. All right, my beautiful Libra friends, have a gorgeous year. And right now I'm going to leave you in the beautiful hands of Wade Caves, who's going to give you your financial timing for 2024. Bye, Libra.
We have the nodes in Aries and Libra for the bulk of 2024, and so this year promises to be quite an exciting and volatile one for the cardinal sign, but particularly Aries and Libra. Even still, there are some good windows here, where there's some transits that can be very helpful in expanding one's financial portfolio. The ones that really jump out to me, in February, Mars moves into Aquarius. That'll be in sextile to your natal sun or ascendant, whichever happens to be in in Libra. I said sextile, it's actually a trine. Sorry, they're both air signs. So that's good for anything where, some bravery is needed, some courage to advance and move forward. Jupiter makes its ingress into Gemini in May. Jupiter is the natural significator of wealth and wealth management. So to have Jupiter in trine to Libra for the bulk of 2024, it definitely alleviates what could be, through some of the more difficult transits, a stressful period. And generally, where Jupiter gets involved, there's some good luck that follows. In July, around mid-July, Mars moves into Gemini, and it provides much the same benefit that we see in February when it moves into Aquarius. It gives that sense of bravery and courage. And same thing in November when Mars moves into Leo, casting a sextile to Libra, and helping spur on some exciting pioneering developments. But there are some periods that you'll be, wanting to keep an eye out for. So when Mars makes its ingress into Capricorn at the start of this year, that will be in square to Libra. Not particularly helpful for strategies that we want to see sustained and work over long periods. We have eclipses in March and April. So in March, we've got the lunar eclipse in Libra in your sign. So if you've got any, either the sun or the ascendant within a couple of degrees of 5 degrees Libra, this is very likely to hit you. So you just don't want to be making big decisions that you want to last around this time. And then in April with the solar eclipse at 19 degrees of Aries, that happens in the opposing sign to your own, and that can be troublesome. Mars will make its ingress into Aries and oppose your sun or ascendant in Libra, whichever it is that you have. And so between April 30th until Mars makes its ingress into Taurus in June, you just want to be mindful that we're dealing with a bit of a tricky transit. And then Mars really stays out of your hair until we get into September, when Mars enters Cancer and squares Libra from the other side. Okay, so there was the square in January and the square again in September. And finally, the year is going to be closing out with the solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Libra. So if you've got personal planets within 5 degrees of that eclipse, you'll just want to be mindful that it's probably not the period to be making big changes to your portfolio or financial strategies.
Libra, 2024 looks like a very serious year for you. You have the South Node traveling through your zodiac sign all year long. Now, the South Node, as you know, partners with the North Node, and they're related to the Moon. The North Node tells us where we're going in our life, and the South Node tells us where we've been. So when you have a South Node, which is transiting your sign, like it will be throughout all of 2024, it really is a kind of like unraveling of who you're used to being, of the way that you see relationships. In fact, there's a very strong Martian energy that's going on through with that South Node moving through your sign. In other words, Libra, which is so much about being in a relationship, and one of Libra's favorite words is we, what the South Node is asking you to do is to introduce more me in your we. In other words, it's being much more present and much more of yourself and much more expressive of who you are and what you want in a partnership. Now, Librans aren't naturally accommodating by nature. It's a cardinal sign. You can be very directed and focused on getting the things that you want to get. But what can happen with Libra in a relationship is that Libras have a tendency to identify with the relationship itself. It almost becomes your job to keep the relationship together. And this is done with the expectation that it takes two people to make a relationship. There's you and your partner. And then there's the third part of the relationship, which is the relationship itself. Okay, so you've got you've got your partner, and then you've got the relationship itself, the circle that includes both of you. And you can see yourself as being in charge of the relationship. You know that naturally there are sacrifices you're going to make or compromises that you have to introduce. And the reason that you're doing it is for the health of the relationship. But not all the time does the partner introduce on their side those sacrifices and those compromises in order to keep a relationship going. So this is the year when you get really quite serious about it. Now, Pluto enters the zodiac sign of Aquarius on January 20th, and that's a big step. It's moving from 29 degrees to 29 degrees Capricorn to 0 degrees Aquarius. And that could be that could signal the end of a long-standing relationship or the beginning of a new one. So that might be what's going on somewhere in that January 20 to maybe February 17th window for you. But you're very serious about how a relationship works, and you're very serious that you be a much stronger presence in the relationship, and you're also serious that your partner keeps up with you and your expectations that you're going to have for a relationship. That Pluto in Aquarius really is going to be kind of a turbo charge engine to your Libran energy. This is supported by Jupiter entering the zodiac sign of Gemini in May. And so when Jupiter enters the zodiac sign of Gemini, this brings us like a higher purpose to your relationship in a way. I mean, not only is it going to make you very social and you'll have lots of new friends and acquaintances and frenemies and things along those lines, but it gives a very strong forward momentum to the relationship itself. And for you, that basic relationship is important, but all of your relationships are almost like marriages as far as a Libra is concerned. So these are the things that you're going to be very earnest and very focused on. We have eclipses that are taking place on March 25th and April 8th. And again, this is going to bring up the issue of putting more me into your we. And then there's one that's solar eclipse that's taking place on October 2nd of this year. What's also interesting is we've got Pluto turns retrograde in Aquarius, and it comes back down into Capricorn later on in the year. And that's going to be a very pivotal point for you in terms of what's going on in a relationship. And that's going to be in the October-November period. And you may feel like like you might have made a wrong turn in a major relationship for yourself, and you're not quite sure if you want to persevere. But when Pluto turns direct and starts moving forward again in that November period, you're probably going to decide to stay with the relationship and to bring it up to par. So there may be, cold feet around that period of time, but I think you're going to answer the cold feet with something that's very affirmative and also something that's very proactive.
Hey everybody, Cameron here, and welcome to your 2024 medical astrology forecast for Libra rising. So this year, I want to make like a point of emphasis with anyone who has Libra rising. As a generalization, we can say that this year you do really want to watch out for your health, and not saying that to scare you or anything. However, we do see that throughout this year, the South Node will be moving through the first house, which has to do with our physical body and our wellness. One of my teachers, Michael A. Bryan, says that the first house in the ascendant represents the quantum of energy that we come into this life with. So if we have the quantum of energy that we come into this life with, and we have the South Node that has a tendency to be a draining influence and a depleting influence, then what happens? The quantum of energy that is me feels like it could be depleted. Yeah. And obviously this is not going to be the case for everyone, because there's so many people out there with Libra rising, but this is something we want to be really mindful of. Also, something that is a secondary testimony to something potentially going on with the health is that Saturn is going through the 6th house, which oftentimes can create acute illness and physical illness overall based on our daily habits and or lack thereof. Also, something that's been happening for a very long time is that Neptune has been going through the 6th house. So if there's anything going on with any autoimmune issues, I'm inviting anyone to reach out and make sure you go see a holistic healthcare practitioner and go see your doctor if you haven't seen your doctor as well, right? And so for this year, for Libra rising, the invitation from me would be to try out and work with a plant called calendula. And calendula is a plant that works on the lymphatic system. And I say it works on the lymphatic system, and that matters because you have Saturn going through your sixth house, and your sixth house has Pisces there. And Pisces rules the lymphatic system. And if the lymphatic system becomes an issue, then oftentimes this can influence the kidneys, which is corresponding to your rising sign. Now, be mindful. Again, this is a generalization. However, I do think this is applicable very widely. And also, before you try to go work with calendula, go see your local herbalist, go see your Ayurvedic practitioner, even though they don't use calendula, so they'll probably tell you use something else. And go talk to your holistic healthcare practitioner. Also, one last transit that I would talk to about for Libra, what I would talk about for Libra risings is the eclipse that's happening on October the 2nd, because it's going to be in your first house. And oftentimes eclipses specifically on the South Node represent power outages. So we want to make sure that our health is nice and vital during that time, because also that eclipse is squaring Mars. And so we just want to be mindful of that time period in general. So I hope you stay healthy, stay balanced, and stay in harmony.
Hey Libra, this is Tiffany Harlick, and I'm here to give you your 2024 spiritual astrology forecast. So if you have a Libra sun, moon, or rising, or you're watching for a Libra that you love, you're in the right place. So before we get going, my promise to you is to deliver clear, concise, and accurate information in a way that is useful to you. And your promise to me is to always follow your heart, always follow your free will, and to never use astrology against yourself. Your spiritual opportunity in 2024, Libra, is all about soul connections. I think this is going to be a great year for you guys. And I know that you're going to enjoy embracing different people that show up on your path this year. This is about the deepest human bonds. This is about the juicy connections. This is about healing trust issues with the universe or the masculine or the feminine. This is about co-regulating. This is about shared healing experiences. And this is about information that comes to you in extremes, the contrast, the yin and the yang. And this is to show you what does and doesn't work and what is out of balance, because you are the great adaptogenic herb of the zodiac, and you will find that balance. A little Ram Dass quote for you to remind you that everyone is God in drag, that we can lighten up, that we can have a good time, that we're here to know and love ourselves. Your mantras: I'm in right relationship to myself, which attracts abundance and correct alignment with other people. I love recommitting to my health and vitality. It feels good to enjoy relationships that are divinely balanced. Your ruling planet is Venus, and so I'm going to be looking at the transits of Venus to show us what is really going to illuminate your overall theme here. So Venus is going to be a primal motivating factor in helping you decide how you want to work with the energy of 2024. And so how do you rise to the occasion of your inner Venus? Well, this is going to involve you understanding what emotional wars you're going to stop fighting inside of yourself, what thoughts you're going to stop using against yourself, right? What emotions that you're going to learn how to neutralize and respond from and watch over time. Okay. This year of soul connections can be broken down into 4 quarters. The first one is about self-awareness. The second one is about love. The third one, simply and straightforward, is about your physical health. And the fourth one is about answering a new calling. So in terms of Q1 and self-awareness, Libra, January comes in with a 9 numerology. This is a month of integration and completion and things coming full circle. This is a month when you're going to see karmic relationships. And I want you to pay attention to this deja vu or deja vu experience with the North Node present. Venus is going to be in Capricorn. We're more responsible. Things are slower. We want a commitment, and this is a long-term journey. These are people that are in your life for a reason, not just a season, right? Towards the end of January, Venus is going to square Neptune, so things aren't always quite what they seem. You can trust your intuition, but you also need to be aware that there might be some deception. Things might not be fully, you might not be very clear here the second half of January. Yet Venus goes on to sextile Saturn and to trine Jupiter. So if you go through a little rough patch, just fake it until you can make it. Know that you're on a bell curve going up, that this is about progress, not perfection, and that we're all going to have these moments, these blips in life. And so in February, the numerology shifts to a 1. This is when we can be hyper-focused. This can be useful, but it's not if we get into analysis paralysis or overthinking or get overly driven by one thing. There can be some friction with this energy. In early February, you're going to have some roadblocks and some obstacles that will challenge your spiritual development. And during this time, I want you to really challenge yourself to turn the no's into wows. Like, ooh, dodge that bullet, almost got on that one. Not going to step in the same hole over and over again. You're going to see the hole and not step in it. That's how you're going to turn your no into a wow. The 14th through the 29th, I think that there's going to be some stimulation going on in your networks and in your careers and in the outwardly facing world. I think that it's going to be a little bit more externally focused. And so I want you to be able to bless it or block it, to look at the green lights, be like a leaf on a fast moving stream, go forward in the direction that the energy is offering to you, and not get frustrated with there's some red lights. Just say, thanks, going to go the other way. In March, this is a 2 in the numerology. This is about relationships, and not just with the relationship with other people, but the relationship that you have with your higher power, between the seen world and the unseen world, between the physical and the spiritual. As Venus moves into Pisces, this is a great time to practice yoga and meditation. Maybe you want to explore a new studio. Maybe you want to take your practice outside into nature. Maybe you want to create a new yoga playlist to enjoy. Maybe you want to do some art or painting or dancing. As Venus sextiles Chiron, she will square Uranus the first 2 weeks of March here. And so again, this is about finding that non-resistance, that spiritual law of non-resistance. This eclipse happens in your sign, Libra, in your first house. So this is why self-awareness is going to be such a key theme in Q1 for you. And I want to offer you this reflection. So grab a screenshot if you would like. This helps you see more about yourself when you're doing the contrasting between yourself and another. And so here are some concepts to explore that I think that you'll find useful in your journal. And in terms of your eclipse, we're always looking at eclipses on an axis. So this is the first house, yes, which is polarized by the 7th house, the me versus the we, the what's mine versus what's yours versus what's ours. This is a sacred unification in your soul between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. You don't have to go outside to find that inner alignment. And this eclipse shows you what's unhealed so that you can see it, face it with awareness, and move forward, evolve, grow. So take a screen grab of this and journal through these around the eclipses this year. For your self-development, there's a breath work piece that I really enjoy called the box breath. So if you haven't tried this one yet, it's very simple. You breathe in for 4 counts. You pause at the top for 4 counts. You exhale for 4 counts. And you pause at the bottom for 4 counts. And you repeat this, and it centers you and grounds you. You might want to do it a little longer than my dim there. There's a lot of great books on breath right now. James Nestor's book. There's the Wim Hof methods. There's also Science of the Breath, which is the one that I like to recommend because it's short, simple, and a classic, and written by a yogi. So that's my favorite. Your stewardship is going to be to write a personal spiritual mission statement. What is your spiritual mission statement? What is a new bio that reflects one of your core values, that reflects something about the way that you believe that this world is, that's positive and good, and considers your innocence and your hope and the loving core? what is your spiritual mission here on earth? And if you haven't considered it, this is just your invitation to consider it. You don't have to go get a reading. You don't have to look at your chart. This is just for you to reflect on. So this activity for your self-development comes from the body graph in the Human Design System. So if you want to have a copy, you could go to mybodygraph.com and grab your chart, but you don't even need to know your chart. These are the questions around the open centers in the chart. And I think that they're useful for all of us at different seasons of life. And so if you're in a place of irritability, restlessness, discontent, these are some questions to offer yourself. Does it matter? Am I thinking about something that doesn't matter? Am I thinking about something that doesn't concern me at this moment? Am I feeling like I need to be certain and prove to you that I'm certain? Am I trying to attract attention? Am I fixated on finding love and direction? All of these questions, I think, are very useful over time. Your second quarter about love. Let's talk about April. April is one of the biggest months of the whole year, Libra. We have this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and this is falling in your 8th house of the deepest human bonds, where we experience sex, death, and taxes, where we have this visceral reaction and response to the other people. It's where we really need each other, right? That feeling of really this divine connection, this sacred connection to somebody. And the Jupiter expands and shares and blows things up and makes things huge. It's the great cosmic magnification glass. And Uranus happens quickly. Uranus is like Einstein. Uranus shows us a quickening, right? And so it feels like as Jupiter and Uranus conjunct in your 8th house, that something could happen quickly. There could be a sudden windfall. There could be something that goes your way quickly. And so I want you to be aware of this so that you can get your mind right as we're leading up to this interesting, pivotal growth experience, right? Now, as Mercury retrogrades in April, this will be in your 7th house of relationships, and the eclipse is happening in your 7th house of relationships. So you, more than any sign this year, have a huge, huge focus on love, relationships, sacred reunification, this balance within yourself in order to attract other balanced beings and situations is huge. This April eclipse will show you the power of love, and it will be visible in North America. The April is it's a 3-month. It's very extroverted. We are craving connection, and I think you're going to see that out there. In May, it's a 4 energy, and this is more stable, steady. You have to be balanced while the waves are rolling all around you. May is a more shuffling of the deck, but you have to be still and steady. Venus will move into Gemini. This provides flirty vibes. It provides an opportunity to go this or that. It's not the most decisive. And so allow yourself off the hook from making big, major life decisions right now. Just chat about it. Just have a conversation. Get somebody else's perspective. The first half of May, Venus will square Pluto and sextile Saturn. This is when bonds are made and broken, or broken and made. This is when we see the contrast of what we don't want so we can see what we do want. This is a time for us to zoom out, observe, and enjoy the ride, right? The second half of May, Venus will be right next to Uranus in the sky and will sextile Neptune. And so I know that your psychic development is kicking in. I know that you're intuitive, that your spidey senses are on. I know that you're getting some metaphysical messages and some money messages around this time. So listen to your guides, do your meditation, ask questions with your dominant hand and answer them with your non-dominant hand when you're journaling and writing. And in June, we're all leading up to this massive leap of faith. So whatever has been unknown and futuristic and curious in your life and has been very mysterious, this is where we're being asked to trust, and we're being asked to trust something that we can't see. Jupiter is going to trine Pluto. And as you think, as you use your spiritual vision, as you use your pro vision, you'll be able to see more, and you'll be able to create the world around you. You'll see that how you think, so shall you be. Right? As above, so below. And on the 4th, Venus will be in the heart of the sun, and it's an auspicious time for love, for connection, for sensuality, for experiencing the law of attraction, things like this. So I offer you, Libra, one of the foundational practices in my life is to do this relationship inventory. We all need it for different seasons. This is the long version. I didn't write it, but I do use it. And I use it when I'm agitated out there, right? So this is when I've got one finger pointing out. I've got three fingers pointing back. I know that I'm disturbed. And if I'm disturbed, I'm the one that can do something about it. And this is what I do. I go through these questions. I share it with a friend and get some feedback. I sleep on it, meditate, take it to my higher power, look at it, reflect on it, and reconcile something inside myself. Now, if you're beyond that, if that's not for you, Libra, that's for all those other Libras, then I want you to look at a more regular basis with, your significant other, your best friend, your kiddo. What's going well between us? What could I do better? How have I been of service to you? In your self-development, I want you to do a joy check-in. I want you to remember a time that was so full of radiant joy that's easy to access. For me, one of the easiest ones to access is riding my horse and connecting with my horse. And I love everything about it, the way she smells, the way that it feels, the heart connection, the saddle, the wind, the sunset, all of it, right? Easy access point. And once you get that easy access point of joy, sit with that in your meditation, sit with that in your quiet time, and allow your heart to expand 3 times beyond. For stewardship, I want you to do a friendship check-in. Text your friends, tell them you love them, see if you can help them out in some capacity, bring them some groceries, drop off a heart-shaped rock in their driveway with a little note or a book or something, make them feel special. And in terms of an activity, with regards to your relationships, what is it like being on the other side of you? And consider this prompt. There's a book recommendation I have for you. It's Sacred Contracts by Caroline Meese. If you've already read it, check out one of her other books. In the third quarter, you're going to be focused on health. July is a 6 month. This is about nesting and making your home a place you run to and not away from. It's a heart opener. It's a month to keep the home fires burning. And it's a month to rewire some of the commitments that you have made with your heart. As Venus moves into Leo, this is the heart-centered leader, and you're going to have these opportunities to keep your love light shining big and bright. You might be offered some moments to be the star of your own life. And if you're not the star of your own life, this is a good time to journal through that. There's some deja vu moments with Venus, the North Node, and Chiron, and Jupiter here at the end of the month. This is when you know that you just know somebody. You just know that you've met them before, that you've been in a life with them at some point. This is a place to honor your sacred contracts and your sacred connections. In August, this is a 7 month, and this is a spiritual check-in. This is a time for you to be on your soul quest, to read Rumi and Hafiz, and to study the greater questions of life. It's very supernatural, which goes right in hand with the August Mercury retrograde, which traverses your 11th and 12th houses. This is the unknown. The 11th house is the network, our friends, the future. And the 12th house has to do with the house of troubles that we turn into the house of reconciliation, that we turn into our redemption story. So your redemption story, whether you've had it or not, or you're in the middle of it, this is a theme for you in August. And Venus will move into Virgo, and it's the little things that matter. It's the little things that add up. So progress, not perfection. On August 19th, so leading up to August, it'll get louder, louder, louder. And then on the 19th, it'll be exact and fade away. It will come back in December. And so what I'm talking about is Jupiter square August, square Saturn. Jupiter is our biggest, wildest, greatest dreams, the places we want to go, the places we want to grow, right? Our hope. And then Saturn, our responsibilities, the places where we have to be mature and have duties. Those are in contrast with each other. So there will be some inner tension and some growing pains now that we will revisit in December. In September, this is a moment to have a health check and a health reset. And this is why all quarter long, if you're doing stuff to stay on top of your health, to take care of your immune system, to stay in your physical and emotional wellness practices, you're going to be just fine. The eclipse here in September is in your 6th house of health, but also of routine, of daily rhythm, of the fixed patterns or the not fixed patterns that you need in order to feel a sense of fulfillment at the end of the day. Here are the eclipse support themes if you'd like to take a screen grab. This is about the sacred reunification within your soul here, the 6th and the 12th house. How you are, your body as the temple, your medical mysteries, your confusion with the unseen world, your challenge to trust the universe, your strength and cathartic opportunities in your physical body. Are there opportunities where you can see like you're self-sabotaging or you're creating more stress than you need to? This will help you see that. Here is a great tool for a spiritual health reset. This is a spiritual healer's list. This is what I have, and I'm just offering it to you as a resource. So I have a pretty extensive list here. You can be basic, you can be broad, but put down some of your wellness practitioners, put down some of your favorite spaces, and put down some of the things that you want to have in your house, your firesider, your homeopathics, your chiropractic, your osteopath, your acupuncturist, and have them in a place so that you feel safe and secure, that you know where to go if something is feeling a little off. And within that, I also want to recommend the book Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose. There's a lot of books out there for mind, body, health. This is such a great one because, you know, if something is showing up in your physical body, it started or has a spiritual or emotional component. And to me, she just nails it. I think she's so accurate. So I like the yellow volume of her book. Meditation to consider, research the Ho'oponopono prayer. Look at the science, look at the history of it, and start practicing it in your life. It's very easy. You use it inwardly, right? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you, right? And see what wonders it can work in your life. Your stewardship is to yourself. So this is a self-stewardship quarter. Your body is your temple. What are you devoted to? What's the self behind? What's behind your thoughts? What's behind this curtain here? And how will you be a good steward of that essence of your soul that will not be created or destroyed, but continue on in the afterlife? Your 4th quarter is about a new calling, answering a new calling. And in October, this is a 9. This is a repeat of the numerology from January. This is an integration and assimilation. Something's coming full circle for you. And it is activating your 1st house. So not only your identity and your ego, but that 1st and 7th house access, your relationships. So what have you learned about your relationships, but what have they taught you about yourself? This is a moment of reckoning. This is a moment of reconciliation. In November, we shift to a 1 month, which is about focus and clarity, but we want to be careful to not alienate ourselves or others or getting stuck in analysis paralysis. This is a month to be a little bit more conservative, and just know that Mercury retrograde will go through your 3rd house of communication. You might want to look over old notes, old journal entries, reread old books, watch old movies that you've seen a million times, things like this. And in December, know that the Mars retrograde cycle will kind of overlap there, and this will be in your 10th and 11th house. So looking for career solutions or studying your midheaven in your chart in astrology, knowing what your give back is to the community, to the tribe of humanity, this will be helpful. And then at the end of December, we are on a repeat of the growing pain tension that we saw first in July. Your self-development opportunities here are to create some ritual music, a new playlist. Your stewardship opportunity is to develop your psychic gifts, to know how to make your own decisions from the inside. You don't need to hire a psychic, become one. You don't need to hire an astrologer, become one. Learn these gifts. And another activity for you is to write your ideal job description. If you could do anything in the world and were fully supported and funded by the universe, what would that look like? I recommend listening to Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza because he has some cool meditations. I have one more slide after this, Libra. These are my resources. You can find me at tiffanyharlick.com. I've got some free things to download, some cool articles. If you're hanging out on my site, you'll see beekeeping, and my astrology newsletter that goes out on Fridays is free. I work with people in one-on-one sessions and retreats. I have some outside resources, and I want to make sure you have the code Stormie 2024 to buy your digital astrology calendar. You'll get this for $10 off with the code, and it comes in 6 different languages. It travels with you to any different time zone. You can use it on any calendar platform. I use Google Calendar, and it'll show you a title for the planetary or lunar transit. and then you can expand it and the description will show you what's going on. So you can learn astrology all year. And if you don't want to read the description, you can also just look at it at a glance. There's a sun emoji for the good flow days, and there's a umbrella emoji for the days that you might want to lay low. If you'd like to become a certified astrologer with me in 2024, I'm teaching at the Lisa Williams International School for Spiritual Development, and I offer free classes to my membership. So before we go, Libra, I just want to say, follow your heart. This journey is about knowing yourself and loving yourself and enjoying the ride. We're here for a good time, not a long time. I hope you found something that really hits home for you that you can explore and enjoy. I hope you have the best year ever. And thank you for this opportunity to serve you. Namaste.